Hello, in this tutorial I'm just going to give you an overview of the Manage Groups interface and what can be done with it. In other tutorials we'll cover detail on the things that you can do with it, so that it's not too big of a tutorial, because there's quite a lot of things that you can do. You can keep the managing groups as simple or as complicated as you wish to do. It's up to you. It can be extremely simple, or you can dig deeper into it. But this video is really just an overview of managing groups in general. So I'm going to show you that now. So here I am at the dashboard. If I click on Manage Groups now, I've got a bunch of testing stuff in here. This is all just testing data, none of it's real. In here we've basically, this is the interface when you first arrive. It's pretty blank. I should really put a pretty picture there with some arrows or something. Might do that maybe. But basically this is the start point. There isn't very much to it. So basically you've got a choice of, you can either edit an existing group, you can join an existing group that somebody else has given you a code for, or you can create your own group. Okay, so if I create a group, I can just click on Create a Group. So this, if this is the first time you're using oodlü, then and you're not linked up with any other teachers or anything like that, then you just create your own group for your students. So let's say I'm going to call this Class 1. Class 1, simple as that. Continue, and that creates that class and gives me Class 1. Okay, and from there you can add your other teachers that might be in this group, and you can add your students. So this section here, once you're in here, is broken down into teachers and students. And in fact this is the same view that you would get if you were to click on this drop down list here and click on one of the existing classes. So this is one I have existing already, class 4B, and I've got some testing data in it. So I'll actually continue with class 4B because it's got some stuff in it, but basically it's the same as you get when you click on Create Group. It's just when you create an empty one, it's empty. So in this interface, this is the main interface, if you like, for actually doing stuff, because the idea is that you either find an existing group, join one, or create one, and then you get this interface, and this is where you do your stuff, where you actually do most of your managing. Okay, so as with the rest of the oodlü platform, you'll find these drop downs, and each drop down relates to the thing that it's within. So here, class 4B, for example, it has a group drop down, and these are all the things that you can do to the group. So you can, for example, change the group settings by changing the name. So I've got this as 4B, but you could change that name if you want to. You can lock the groups, to prevent more students joining or more teachers joining. In fact, this one's unlocked at the moment, which is just, it's just a testing group, it doesn't matter, but you should lock your groups. Once you've got all your students and teachers in them, you should lock them. And the idea of that is that it means that if anybody has that the join code, which you'll see in a second, then it means they can't join anymore. So that just prevents any kind of abuse going on, which is obviously crucial in this situation. You can also change the owner of the group to whoever you want it to be. So I've got a number of teachers in here. This is what I wanted to show you with this group, really, because I've actually got a number of teachers and things in and students in this group already. And so you can actually change the owner. I'm the current owner of this group, and so that shows there. The owner has slightly higher levels of privileges and can do slightly more stuff than the other teachers who are in the group. So that's that. You've also got, and we'll cover this in a bit more detail in other tutorials, but we've got the concept of teacher group codes and student group codes, and the idea is that the teacher group code is a code that you can give to other teachers for them to join your group. So that allows them to enter it, and you basically click on this and it will display that code to you, and then you can use that to join. You can give that to other teachers to join, and then once they've joined, they will just appear in this list here. So that your other teachers would appear in that list. It's worth noting when you do that those teachers share the same privileges to the students that are in that group that you do. So you are kind of also handing them access to those students. So it's important to understand that. The students have a group code as well, and again, this testing group, don't hand this one out, there's no point, it won't do anything for them. Basically that's that group code you hand out to the students, and you should never publish those group codes publicly. These are for students who are joining to join your group. So that's what those are, and then you've also got a certain number of things that you can do for each of the teachers. Now, So let's just have a look at this. You can basically just remove them from the group. There will be other things that you can do later on, but if you have a teacher in the group who you don't want in there anymore, you can remove them from the group. It's worth bearing in mind if you do remove them from the group, they still maintain access to those students though. So you know, if you need that removed, you'd have to get in touch and we'd have to look at that in detail. But they do once they've been added to a group, they do retain access to the students going forward. So then we've got the students in the list, and this is probably where the bulk of what you'll do happens, because most times you'll just have your class or your group and that'll be it. So you've got the list of the students, and usefully it's worth noting that you can filter these lists, right? So well, the student list anyway. So if you wanted to find, for example, I've got one in here called Bumblebee. So if I type Bumblebee, yeah, bum for Bumblebee, or if I type in HIV for Yver, okay, so Charlotte B. So you can filter the list. So when you're looking for a student quickly, let's say for example someone's locked themselves out of their account and you need to quickly unlock it, then the quick way to find them is to go in here, type the start of their name or their username into the this filter here, and you'll find that you can very, very quickly get to them. And then of course you've got the drop down for each of these students on the right hand side here. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do for students. You can edit their student details, you can log in as the student. If you want to see what the student experience is like, you can actually log in as that student. It'll log you out of your teacher account and it'll log you into their student account, and that'll allow you to literally see what the experience of that student is. So let's say for example you have set some question collections to your students and you want to see what they look like, or say one of your students is saying I've got a problem and I want you to look at it please. You can just click on login as that student and go in. You can reset their password. Please do not send passwords via email. It's a plain text format and it can be intercepted, so it's not a good idea. If you're going to reset someone's password, it's a good idea to be with them at the time so that you can give them or give it to them directly. Or if you really have to send it in some encrypted form. I know that's tricky, but yeah, it's just the security of it's important. But that does allow you to reset their password. It allows you to remove them from the group. And incidentally, it's just worth noting actually, when you remove someone from a group, you've got this all students list here, and this all students list is a little bit like the group list, but it's just all the students that you've got in your account. Okay. So you can do the same stuff to them within there. So once you remove them from the group, it doesn't just mean they disappear. They do exist in your system still. They're just in the all students list instead. Anyway, so that's removed from the group. You've got manage groups for this student. In fact, this is quite a nice way of going and just checking what groups this current student is currently in. So at the moment, this student isn't in class 1 or the kids or 5B or period 1, but the student is in 4B. But if you want to, you can add it to another of these groups really easily just by clicking add. Boom, that's done. Save. All sorted. So that's good. And then where were we? We are on student 1. Okay, so that allows you to manage the groups for the student. So that's kind of from the student's direction rather than from the group's direction. Quite helpful to be able to come from both ends. Then you can award a badge to the student, and again I'll cover that in a different tutorial. You can view the student's badges. You can check how many oodles they have. And you can also check the oodles history, and again I'll cover those in different tutorials as well. So that's dealing with the oodles are the kind of like currency that they earn, the fake currency that the students earn within the oodlü platform. And of course you can add students to a group by clicking this button down here, and that allows you to add students in two ways. You can either do it via a group code, which is the thing we were just talking about now with the student group code, or you can generate and upload your students, and again that is another tutorial which I cover in a different video. Anyway, so that kind of gives a brief overview of what you can do in the Manage Groups section. Please check our other videos to find out a bit more detail about each of those things. Hopefully that's useful, and thank you very much.